Hello, you cosmic baddies, and welcome back to a Chakras and Cusswords podcast. My name is Catherine, and I am your host. Today, we are going to get into the astrology of the month of June of 2025, and we will do a reflection of May of 2025. I will say May was fucking intense. There's a lot of things I want to talk about, and I'm just going to freaking try to go down the sequence as best as possible while covering the high moments that I thought were very important. Today I'm, recording around May 27th at 8:11 a.m. I usually release a podcast on a Monday, but I'm going to release this to you guys on a Wednesday. Okay, a little bit off sequence. A little bit later than usual, but it's okay. It's okay. I just got back from a vacation with my boo bear. And so we had a beautiful time out in Santa Barbara. Sometimes when you do the vacations, it's like, oh, okay, we like each other. And then sometimes I'm like remembering, oh yeah, I need to be careful with my words because, no, I don't think he likes me that much anymore. That's why you don't see me giving too much relationship advice, because I'm a good communicator sometimes, but sometimes I be a bad communicator. So it is what it is. Okay, so let's get into the astrology reflection for the last month. May, I can't believe we're already almost in June. It feels like summer. This year is a flying by, the year of 9, the year of closure. And I will tell you guys, if you guys hear some subtle movement in the background, I don't have a demon. I have a bulldog, and he has been literally following me around all since I got back from my vacation. He's been following me around and he will not leave my side. I tried to put him in his house and he was like, absolutely not. And I'm not lifting this fat fool. He's like 60 pounds. There's no way I'm lifting him. So he's going to be hanging out in his cozy chair. So right around 4:28, Spain and the Portugal power outage went out, and this was kind of like the shift of energy, right? We were seeing a lot of movement. We also had the Venus in Aries conjunction with Neptune right around May 2nd and the 1st of May. So there was a lot of high energy. We had a lot of May Day protest. A lot of people were protesting the government, protesting the cost of living, protesting the war in Gaza. It was just a high energy movement, and it was really a high energy day. We saw that Venus in Aries kind of conjuncts Neptune in Aries, which made me think that maybe Sean Combs was a little bit delulu. I guess he declined a plea deal. And we'll get into the start of all the things that occurred and continue to occur. So then also around May 4th, we had Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. We have to remember Sean Combs is a fixed sign. So definitely feeling some changes for the fixed signs, especially with the Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. Then some big high profile names were kind of discovered and talked about right around May 5th as we started the jury selection of the Sean Combs trial. And I have been covering it pretty day by day on the TikTok. If you guys want to check out the TikTok, that's kind of where I do the most of my content that doesn't really make sense to some people, because sometimes I'm talking about new conspiracies, new celebrity tea, and then sometimes I'm like really honed in on the zodiacs and the astrology. But to me, it all kind of clunks in together. What's interesting about the Pluto retrograde is with this Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, we really see how like the collective is like affected with this. This is basically changing how we see Sean Combs completely. And some of the high profile names that were mentioned were Mike Myers, resembling that Sean Combs Diddy tattoo on the boot of the Austin Powers movie, And then also Michael B. Jordan's name was really being dropped. And Michael B. Jordan's name was like a hashtag frequency on all levels because the movie Sinners just came out and people were rushing to go see it. And it wasn't just one Michael B. Jordan, you had two Michael B. Jordans playing the character of Smoke and Stash. And I will say, I saw that movie. I thought that movie was a phenomenal, phenomenal. If you like vampire movies, if you like movies that talk about culture, that talk about urban, like urban legends, and then also a lot of folklore and a lot of energy around the area of the mystic and the area of like religion and the area of like messages. It's definitely a good movie. A lot of hidden messages in there, a lot of area around learning new information. I thought it was an amazing movie. We also had Trump orders tariffs. He's just been doing the tariff thing for a while to save Hollywood. He said Hollywood is dying, and he wants some tariffs on international films. And what's very interesting about this is when we talk about this as a whole and the area of the international films is President Donald Trump called for 100% tariffs on movies produced overseas on his Truth Social post that occurred during this time. Executives criticized him, but he says Hollywood is dying, the film industry is dying, and I think a lot of us have seen, yeah, the film industry is dying. And I don't know if this is going to help. I don't know. Therefore, he says, I'm authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representatives to immediately begin the process of insinuating the 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced on foreign land. We want to make these movies made in America again. Gosh darn it. But some people like movies from different countries and different cultures and different thoughts and perspectives. But, Trump wants all the money, all of it made in America. Also around this time that we had this high energy of the Neptune conjunction with Venus and also the Pluto retrograde, we had China opens, well, I don't know if it's the exact date exactly, but it was coming out in media. China opens the world's first AI hospital with 14 AI doctors. So that's different. That's very different, and I'm wondering how it's going to work out. But China has launched its world's first AI-powered hospital known as Agent Hospital, developed in the Tishuang University of Beijing. This revolutionary facility is staffed by 14 AI doctors and 4 virtual nurses. And it is designed to provide advanced healthcare solutions, and the AI doctors are capable of diagnosing and treating thousands of patients in a fraction of not just time, let's be honest, in a fraction of price. Because if you don't have doctors, you don't got to pay them. You just get yourself an AI robot for $100,000 a year, and guess what? You can hold on to that sucker for a decade. But they stated that they're also able to get the job done faster than these damn human doctors would ever. In fact, they can treat up to 3,000 patients per day. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know how an AI robot could treat 3,000 patients per day. Their technology, their medical technology is so advanced that they're literally like symptoms. Okay, complaints, blah. Okay, here is your diagnosis, here's your pills, here's your health plan, all in 2 minutes. So who knows? Maybe. Yeah. And they said the AI doctors have already demonstrated the remarkable accuracy about 93% on their medical exams. Well, gosh darn. Gosh darn. Why do we even need humans? Let's just all pack up our shit and fucking move to Mars. So, that Pluto retrograde really showed some deep soul reflection and also personal areas of transformation. I'm starting to get worried I might get replaced by a damn robot. Yeah, that's kind of wild. Why did why become a doctor when we're going to be replaced by these robot technology AI creations? It's kind of creepy. Kind of creeps me out. As a patient, I don't know how I'd feel about this. I don't. If ET came into my medical room, into my hospital room, I might be a little bit freaked out. And as many of you know, the hunt for the new pope was out and about in May. So, right around the Venus in Aries sextiles Pluto in Aquarius, as Pluto is in Aquarius retrograde, holy white smoke left the Vatican. And holy white smoke is the indicator of a new pope. And a new pope was selected. He is Pope Leo, but he's actually a Virgo. And holy white smokes, he's from Chicago. He's American. He's an American. He has some Creole descent. And it's going to be very interesting to see what he brings, what kind of insight he brings to the Vatican, what kind of insight he brings to Catholicism. And yeah, so that's kind of interesting. And then right around May 12th, I would say we felt big, huge energy shift. Big deal energy shift as we had Mercury enters Taurus on May 10th, and then we had the full moon in Scorpio. The full moon in Scorpio definitely had areas of shadow, definitely was centered with areas of power as we had the Mercury in Taurus squaring that Pluto in Aquarius. So it was a lot of topics, a lot of breakups, a lot of information just coming out all at once. And what's also interesting is that really kind of set the presence of the Diddy trial, really did begin around that time. And Diddy is a Scorpio. Sean Combs is a Scorpio. He is a fixed sign. So then we had the slow and steady areas of movement and also a lot of careful planning. There were some topics about Lil Wayne and his girlfriend. I don't know her name, but I think it's like Diane or some shit. I did a video on it on the TikTok, and she basically said that Lil Wayne kicked her out on Mother's Day, but she's not the mother of any of his children. My thing is, as a woman who is dating a man like Lil Wayne, can't you kind of see like something like this coming? Aren't you saving your change? Aren't you saving your money? We also had Cassie breaking her silence as she testified in the Sean Combs case. And it was just a high energy movement right after that full moon in Scorpio. We also had the Menendez brothers getting a resentencing. I believe their next court date is right around Friday the 13th, which is June 13th. They will come out and have a court date, possible parole. We will see that energy of big transition coming away. Also, Cardi B and her new boo, Stefan Diggs, which I heard they may have already broke up, made a public appearance, which was very interesting because there's been a lot of rumors, like hidden secrets about are they dating, are they not dating? And finally they came out like, yes, we're dating, but I heard they already broke up. So I don't know if that's 100% true, but they came out, and I'm sure it pissed off Offset, who was her on again, off again husband, who's been cheating on her for years. And I'm sure it pissed him off, but what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And then we had Shimmy, Kimmy and Kim Kardashian. I'm sorry, I'm just not a huge fan. Kim Kardashian testifying in Paris for that jewelry heist. And she also came wearing about $5 million in jewelry. So I guess it was to show the people that, hey, you can't change me, you can't change this. But we also had some very interesting stories around the energy of the metaphysics, right around the energy of the beginning, or I guess you could say the middle of that time. So, one of the stories that made way that just shows you you cannot trust your friends, you cannot trust some people in your inner circle. And that was on May 13th of 2025. 23-year-old Mexican influencer Valeria uh, Marquez was tragically shot and killed during a TikTok live stream from her beauty salon. I will say I didn't know who she is. I don't really watch that many influencers. But she was I guess, an influencer. She was very popular. She was from Jalisco. The assailant, posing as a delivery man with a very expensive gift, entered the salon with supposedly a very expensive gift and fired multiple shots, striking Marquez in the chest, the head, and also this occurred literally on her live stream. Her friend, somebody was with her, and I guess was the person who told her to stay and wait for her gift. Like, it's just a very creepy, weird story. Authorities are investigating the case as a femicide and are exploring potential links to organized crime, although there are no official connections. In a chilling development, the boutique order was met with a bouquet of red roses with a note reading "Sorry," which was left outside of the salon after the murder occurred, raising suspicions that the killer may have returned to the scene. Marquez's death has definitely sparked some widespread outrage and highlighted ongoing issues with femicide, basically meaning that so many women are murdered daily. Almost 10 women are murdered daily in Mexico. It's very quite sad. Some people speculate that her friend had something to do with it, although this is all accusations and ongoing speculation. It just feels very weary. It just feels very evil. And I think, that full moon in Scorpio definitely has some energy of this transitioning over to that darkness, to that energy that we saw with also Sean Combs, just like that evilness that we heard about some of the testification that Cassie was giving. Then, when we are on the area of occult and creepiness, we have the Annabelle doll. The infamous Annabelle doll, made her first public appearance in New Orleans right around this time, the same time of this horrific shooting, on May 13th and 1425. I've even seen a lot of people in New Orleans, definitely not a fan of Annabelle coming to New Orleans. New Orleans is a very, very spiritual town. It's very, I guess you could say, the veil is very thin in New Orleans. There's a lot of hoodoo practices, there's a lot of voodoo practices, there's a lot of energies of ghost stories, there's a lot of energies of slavery, there's a lot of energy of past trauma, of gateways, of crossing over in certain energetic cycles. So Annabelle was taken as a part of On the Devils on the Run tour, organized by the New England Society of Psychic Research. Hosted by Ghost City Tours, the event took place in the French Quarter, offering attendees a rare opportunity to see the real life Annabelle. Famously linked to Ed and Lorraine Warren, who always kept her very secure in reinforced glass. But these Two past owners of the Annabelle doll have now passed away. Following the event, rumors circulated online suggesting that Annabelle had gone missing, especially after the fire in the Nottoway plantation in Louisiana. So we're going to talk about this. We're definitely going to talk about this. So the Annabelle doll is very fucking creepy. I don't want to fucking see it. I'll tell you that right now. I'll be having to, and people who are spiritually sensitive and spiritually like inclined, where you feel a lot of energies and you feel like a lot of movement, you don't want to be like playing with that kind of stuff. Like, you're not trying to summon any demons. You might fuck around and find out. And I don't understand why they were like, let's get this Annabelle doll and let's fuck around and find out. And I kind of believe they did. So the Annabelle doll is one of the most famous dolls, alleging to have of being one of the most haunted objects in modern paranormal activity, especially known because of the connection with Ed and Lorraine Warren. They were famed paranormal investigators. They had like history with this doll, okay? So the real Annabelle doll is not what you saw in the movies. Her appearance was very different. She is a large, Raggedy Ann doll, quite different from the porcelain sinister doll looking in the version of the movies that played her. So the Conjuring and the Annabelle movies, basically they used a porcelain doll, but the real doll is like a Raggedy Ann. The origin, according to Lorraine and Ed Warren, was in the 1970s. A nursing student named Donna received the doll as a birthday gift from her mother. The doll continued to have like this weird, creepy story about her. Donna and her roommate Angie soon began to notice strange occurrences with this doll. The doll would move on its own, okay, and appear to be in different rooms, and even would leave handwritten notes. Yeah, no, I'm giving that fucking doll away. And paper reading notes, like saying like help us. Okay, so all of a sudden you put the doll in the kitchen. Let's say you know your kid's playing with the doll in the kitchen. You go upstairs and you realize the doll's now on the couch. Okay, that's creepy. Can you imagine kids are fucking sleeping with this doll? Like, what the fuck? Okay, the women contacted a medium who claimed the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins had attached herself to the doll. Now, I do think with spiritualism and the areas of spirits, that spirits, demons, whatever it is, can attach themselves to certain energy sources. If it's a doll, if it's a human, if it is a place, if it is a house, I do think that the spiritual energy of certain energies walk among us. The story went that Annabelle had died tragically on the property years before. Feeling sympathetic for the spirit, the woman allowed her, meaning the doll, to stay with the doll. Yeah, I don't know. I would feel like if I felt like my doll was possessed, I would be giving it away or trying to find a priest to do an exorcist. Her friend, a friend of the girls, Lou, claimed he had dreams of the doll trying to strangle him, and he also reported waking up with mysterious scratches. This led for Donna and Angie to seek help from a priest. Thank you. Who then contacted the Warrens. So Ed and Lorraine Warren's involvement with the doll determined that Annabelle wasn't possessed by a child's spirit, but rather a demonic entity, using the story of a little girl to gain their trust and eventually possess a human host. And I know this astrology date is getting a little creepy, but this is some creepy stuff. And This is some real stuff, and this is all occurring after the energy around the full moon and the Pluto retrograde. They arranged an exorcism to take place with the doll, claiming it was dangerous and capable of harming or even killing some people. But we got to get this doll cleared. Annabelle was then housed in a locked glass case and left in the Warren's Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut, with a warning sign. Positively, do not open. It is said that a man once mocked the doll during a visit and then later died in a motorcycle crash literally the same fucking day. Like, you cannot make this shit up. You're fucking going to a occult museum and you know there is a haunted doll. You tease the haunted doll and then you basically die in a motorcycle crash that day, reinforcing that this doll has a fearsome reputation. Pop culture has been, I guess you could say, very intrigued by this doll. They have used this doll in The Conjuring of 2013 and also in a lot of spin-off trilogies of Annabelle in 2014, Annabelle the Creation in 2017, Annabelle Comes Home in 2019. While the movies take a lot of liberties with the truth, they also, put a little bit extra on it. But in recent developments, the doll was part of, in just the name of the tour, Devils on the Run, making rare public appearances where Lorraine Warner was like, you do not move this doll ever. Do you think people listen to her? Fuck no. Rumors surrounding her escape are kind of tied into the Nottoway plantation. So the Nottoway plantation, once the largest surviving plantations in the American South, where it housed many, like over 150 slaves, had a fire on May 15th, located in White Castle, Louisiana. So we have to remember, New Orleans is a portal, okay? It's an energy source. There's a lot of energy. The 53,000 square foot mansion plantation was built in 1859 by John Hampton Randolph, a wealthy sugar planter who enslaved over 150 people to operate his estate. The mansion, known for its Greek architect, was operating as a luxury resort and wedding venue for decades. Like, who the fuck wants to get married on a plantation besides Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck? Like, what the fuck? The fire began around 2 p.m. They believe on the plantation's south wing. Staff, I'm like really disgusted that people keep calling this a mansion. It was a plantation. The energy of the ancestors are deep rooted in that. I'm sure there was a lot of trauma. There was a lot of oppression. There was a lot of torture in those walls. I'm a huge believer of being very careful where you purchase your home. Like, you want to know the kind of history of the walls. You want to know the history of the energy of the floors. You want to know the history of the energy of where you are purchasing your house. You want to know the history. I mean, can we always have like a house that's been completely with good frequency? No. There's times, we might buy a house that has had some trauma, but if that occurs, we need to bless it. We need to clear it. We need to sage it. I'm saging my house all the time. And in all honesty, do I need to be like clearing my house all the time? I don't have any negative frequency for the most part. Like, I don't believe my house was built on any traumatic land or anything like that. And we are the first owners of our home. But yeah, I still am, because a lot of times you just have to clear this energy. And it's very hard when there's that much history in the walls. It's very hard when there's that much. energy of trauma and energy of just great oppression. So they believe that the fire began, and they say that they tried to put it out and then the fire came back, which is kind of creepy. How does the fire get put out but then comes back? You know, there might have been still some spark going on. Spark of the ancestors saying, let this motherfucker burn. By the evening, the plantation was a total loss. There were no injuries, and the Nodaway does symbol both the area of painful legacy of slavery and the energy of the presentation of what would be seen as, I guess you could say, the South, the old South, the brutal history of the enslaved people who built and also maintained this. So there's been a lot of debate. The public's reaction is definitely, mixed. For me, I'm like, burn that fucking shit down. I believe they should burn down all that. They just fuck it. Why do we need it? Why do we, why would you get married there? I mean, I don't know. The fire sparked mixed reactions. Some mourned the loss of the historic structure, while all others viewed its destruction as a form of poetic justice, given that it had so many deep and rooted ties to slavery. There was definitely a lot of buzz about this in the aftermath. The rumors circulated, one linking the fire to the Annabelle doll, because she was in New Orleans at the time, and also leading to the speculation that there could be some type of connection. And then what's also interesting is on May 16th, one day after the devastating fire to the historic Nodaway plantation, 11 inmates escaped from the Orleans Parish Jail in New Orleans. So a lot of people are wondering, like, how do 11 people escape? It's not like one or two. 11? 11 said, fuck this shit. We're out of here. Like, they must have, and you could see them on video just running out. They said the guards must have been like not paying attention, or was something almost kind of creeped in where the guards couldn't pay attention. The 11 inmates, considered armed and dangerous, had some exact way of getting out, even though they have not mentioned the method that allowed them to get out. They don't know how they got out, but they got out. They said, fuck this, we're out. The proximity of the jailbreak to the plantation and the Annabelle doll has fired and fueled so much speculation and conspiracies online, linking them all together, and especially with the name Devils on the Run. She's letting these devils get out, these prisoners get out. She's freaking setting the Nodaway plantation on fire. And now she's traveled on to Washington. So we will see what destruction Annabelle brings to Washington. For the rest of the month, that was definitely the highlight, I would say, for some of the astrology. And then around this time, we also had Ceres enters Aries, which is seen as an inner warrior. So definitely that inner warrior was moving on through. Then we had the sun enters Gemini. A lot of talk still going around about the Diddy trial. Then on May 24th, we had the sun in Gemini trines Pluto, and then Saturn enters Aries, which was a big highlight that just occurred over 3 days ago. And I'll be honest, I haven't watched any news. I haven't been keeping up with the news. And then we have on yesterday, May 26th, the new moon in Gemini. For what I know, most of the news topics have been kind of just waiting for the Diddy trial. I haven't really been paying attention because that was enough high energy for me. So let's get into the movement of June. So I'm going to say, I feel like the movement is just so vibracious that we've been feeling, especially with summer, especially with some of the news that's going around. And it just feels very intense. I do feel like June is going to feel uh, there's going to be a lot of conversations. It's also going to be an energy that there's going to be a lot of breakthroughs, and it's going to be really settling us into like some bold moves. And we might have a little bit of softness, right? We might have a little bit of soft landings, but we're really going to see that everything around us that looks beautiful isn't always as beautiful as we might see, especially around the mid energy of June. So let's get into some of the dates. So right around June, June 4th, we have Venus in Aries sextiles Jupiter and Gemini, Mercury in Gemini sextiles Mars in Leo, Venus enters Taurus, and Mercury in Gemini conjuncts Jupiter in Gemini. And June 8th is definitely a high energy day as we have Mercury enters Cancer. And June 9th, Pallas retrograde enters Aquarius, right there with the Pluto retrograde. And then Mercury in Cancer squares Saturn in Aries. And June 9th, again, Venus in Taurus squares Pluto in Aquarius. And Jupiter enters Cancer on June 9th. So also we have Mercury in Cancer squares Neptune in Aries. So right away, the first week of June is busy. The energy is definitely with June 4th, the Venus sextiles Jupiter. It feels like romantic. It feels like a lot of communication. It feels like there's a lot of abundance flowing. The areas of creativity say yes to the energies of pleasure. Venus enters Taurus with the Mercury sextile and Mars. It's time to indulge. It's time to be at home. It's time to go like really be centered with our blessings, our beauty, our steadiness. And then we will see that Mercury and Mars give us words of confidence and words of charm. June 8th and definitely June 9th are high energy days. We have Mercury conjunct Jupiter, which this Mercury enters Cancer. This energy has this like tender movement to it as we see that area of Cancer. It also makes us feel like these big ideas are coming. We'll see energies that really form new point of views, and it will have us reflective on our old energies, but that time of movement and frequency might make us feel a little bit more emotional, especially as it is tied into the energy of Mercury with Cancer, that energy of the emotion. June 9th is definitely a day I would mark on my calendar, highlight, see what's going on. Mercury squaring Saturn, definitely a time that you could see those harsh words come up. And that's kind of something that I have to work on as an individual. Sometimes I like say stuff and I don't really see how other people have the same perspective as me. And it could be because I feel like I'm trying to communicate it in a way that maybe others don't understand, or people aren't just really so sure with the way that I communicated it. And then sometimes I get offensive, or sometimes blah, blah, blah. So we have to remember that with the Mercury squaring Saturn in Aries, and a Mercury in Cancer squaring with a Saturn in Aries, harsh words, it could have a lot of misunderstanding. We could get hurt easy. Our feelings could get hurt. We could hurt others' feelings easy. And then also the Mercury squares Neptune. I feel like that's kind of like a Delulu moment, a mental fog moment. The Venus squares Pluto. Definitely some power plays in love. A lot of power plays in love. Right around June 11th, the second week of June, we're going to be hit with the full moon in Sagittarius. The full moon in Sagittarius, really, we're stepping out of the energy of patterns. We're stepping out of the energy of movement. We're kind of getting our new area of breakthroughs, and we're expanding our truth centered around the throat chakra and also centered around the energy of the fire element, the solar plex. So we're feeling that energy kind of break through into acknowledging, have we been playing small? Are we searching for more freedom? Do we need more freedom? Are we feeling very limited? Like, what is going on with us in a personal movement? We also know that these will be talked about, this energy will be talked about in the areas of relationships as we have the Mercury and Cancer sextiles, Venus in Taurus, and then also we will have Vesta go direct on the 14th. And we will hear of things that will kind of make us, like revenge stories we'll be focusing. We'll see a little bit of maybe some justice magic. You know, when you call it justice magic, it doesn't feel so vengeful. Focus on inner healing and sacred power, especially if you are feeling very destined to take an eye for an eye. An eye for an eye. Oh, an eye for an eye. Or just say very assertive and very centered with your boundaries, as we have on June 15th, the Mars in Leo squaring Uranus in Taurus. So this definitely feels volatile. The Mars squaring Uranus, yikes. Plus, with a Jupiter squaring Saturn, a Jupiter in Cancer squaring Saturn in Aries, yuck, restless, reactive energy. We will feel stuck, and we'll also might to protect that energy by shunning some people away, using our blocks. Sometimes blocks are a good thing. You block them on social media. Social media. What the fuck's a social media? Media. Block them, girl. Block them as much as you can. I don't know. Just get rid of that energy. If that means building a wall, sometimes you have to build a wall. Sometimes you have to realize that, patience, it takes time. It takes time to get past the walls, especially if you've been hurt. But if your boundaries are good, your center's good, you should be okay. Then we have Mars enters Virgo. Definitely a time for us to start our fitness journey, to start our healthy routines back up, especially as they could all come crashing down with the summer months. We're drinking more, we're having more fun with the homies, we're outside, we're really taking that time in. We have to remember that, when we are centered around summer vibes, like we work so hard during the winter to get in our summer body. Some of us do. And then come summer, we're like freaking cracking open the beers. We're cracking open the margarita. We see the pot belly coming back in. The beer belly's catching up. All that good barbecue. We're at the carne asada cookout. We're having a good old time, and that mind-body alignment is kind of losing focus, right? We're wanting to put those healthy foods, those summer foods, and there's so many healthy foods for us, especially in the summer months. We have all those fruits, all those vegetables that we could really fuel our body with, right? Staying away from the high, heavy foods, the comfort foods, but sometimes the comfort foods kind of creep back up in different forms, right? So kind of doing a wellness check, especially around that Mars enters Virgo energy. Also, a wellness check of uplifting ourselves, letting us know if we kind of been not prioritizing our self-care, not prioritizing our wellness. It's time to get back on that train, honey. Then we have June 18th through the 23rd. I'm going to say feeling good in the neighborhood. Jupiter squares Neptune, right? So the Jupiter squaring Neptune is going to enter that area of where some of us are going to be a little bit disappointed, right? We're going to be a little bit disappointed with our areas of setbacks, and we're going to be questioning. We might be feeling a little confused. We might be having some mood swings. So we don't want to spiral. We don't want to lose focus. We want to be centered with allowing ourselves to take this movement through, allowing ourselves to nourish our body, even when we feel a little delulu at the moment, even when we feel confused, we feel baffled, especially if this is occurring in relationships. Then we have June 20th. It is officially summer, bitches. But a lot of us have already been outside. A lot of us have already been enjoying it. We've already been feeling it. The spring creeping into summer. It's summer solstice. Sun enters Cancer. The summer solstice and Litha is a celebration of the longest day of the year. So this is a perfect time to be outside, enjoying it, being compassionate, being centered with that movement. You're going to honor the light, honor the sun, celebrate your rituals, especially with family, a little bit of softness, blessings, and the movement around us. Then we have us transitioning with some new energy that's got us feeling good. The Mars in Virgo sextiles Jupiter in Cancer on June 22nd. Also, June 22nd is kind of a high energy day as we have the Sun in Cancer squares Saturn in Aries. Then June 23rd, Sun in Cancer squares Neptune in Aries. Then on June 24th, we have Sun in Cancer conjunct Jupiter in Cancer. That feels good. That feels lucky. It feels like a lot of opportunities for personal, professional goals. It feels like maybe doing some painting outside. It feels like having a good day out. It feels like a lot of new movement, new opportunity, and a lot of blessings coming our way. We just have to believe that the blessings are coming our way. We have to be part of the blessing. We have to contribute to the blessing. A lot of us get focused on the actual contribution that we do as a whole, as a collective. Also, this is a good time that we see we're going to make good intentions around the area of intuition, around the energy of our hearts, around the energy of our emotions, getting set in the intentions of rooted and emotional security and self-love and the soul networks that we have as we have the new moon in Cancer. Perfect for manifesting new beginnings, in-home intuition, and healing certain areas that have been holding us back. I would say that also June 26th, this new moon energy and a lot of movement in the cosmos has us feeling like another high energy day as we have Mercury in Cancer sextiles Uranus in Taurus, Sun in Cancer sextiles Mars in Virgo. June 26th, we have Mercury entering Leo. That is a dynamic. That is an area where we're going to be practicing our, what do they say it in yoga? Lion voice, tiger voice. We're going to really let our roar out. We're going to let our words grow, get bigger, get bolder, get more moved, get centered around that energy of our visions. That Mercury in Leo really amps up your voice, your vision. You're bold, you're creative, you're solar plex driven. And sometimes when you feel a little solar plex driven, we feel that ego come. But the Mercury allows us to express ourselves, right? And we have to remember that expressing ourselves while the Mercury is opposing Pluto, it is an energy around purpose, not ego. So allowing that purpose to stand forward. We also have Mercury in Leo trine Saturn in Aries on June 27th. And also the Mercury in Leo trines Neptune in Aries on June 28th, with following June 29th, the Mercury in Leo opposites Pluto in Aquarius. So we might be feeling a little bit rebellious. We don't want to listen to anybody. We want to listen to ourselves and ourselves only. This is our life. We make the decisions and fuck off. So we're definitely going to have to chill that energy. Chill that solar plex, chill that energy. We could see that others can give us new ideas as well. Others can help us settle down a bit, especially if you're feeling very vibracious. I would say you want to be centered around your area of truth and also trusting in the timing of your heart's truth, trusting you as an individual. I would say some crystals to work with during this time. Definitely the citrine, because that initiates the solar plex. The rose quartz, that energy of the Cancer, allows that beauty, allows that softness, and the moonstone. The moonstone is seen as a protective. We're going to need to protect our energy. So it's a fun day. It's a fun month. It's a fun movement. Even though we are tied in with some energy of retrogrades, we're tied in some energies of new moon, full moons, and it does have that area of having those blessings, those breakthroughs, and those emotional glow ups all in the month of June. Woo! What a time. What a time to be alive, right? Every day is a blessing. Every day is centered around new movement, higher frequency, and being on a vibration that feels right to you. I want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Help me move up this podcast ladder by giving me a 5-star rating. 5-star rating means you enjoyed this podcast, and it helps, helps the collective find people, helps people like us find astrology, helps us find the cosmic connection that so many of us are yearning for, trying to learn more about, and keeping us all intertwined. Definitely, if you haven't listened to Saturn Enters Aries podcast, I would definitely check that one out. I have some new content coming out. So keep your eyes on the podcast and YouTube channel because I try to get some new topics out, some new energy out, and some new content. Oh, fuck it. Everybody, have an amazing day. Don't forget to share this podcast with your witchy bestie. Bye.